Which AC is right for you? I'm going to keep it short and sweet and simple. I'm not going to get too confused with BTUs, cooling capacity, and amps, DC to DC charging, Kenny. 8 times out of 10, Kenny, the Dometic RTX is the right AC for you. Look how sexy it is. It's beautiful. Look at it, Kenny. I told you in the unboxing video, we just gave it a hug with all the beautifulness, okay? It's all in there in one complete system. It is less customizable, and what I mean by that is it's easier to install. The Nomadic Cooling, you have to install the flush-mounted vent. I've lost my words, Kenny. The flush-mounted vent and the interior piece is all separate, so there's more customizing. We send these things to everything from expedition vans to Fords to ProMasters, so they're a little bit more complicated to install. There is more customizing. This thing, you cut the hole, you drop it in, you bolt it in, boom, power, you're ready to rock. Now you may be confused, Jonathan, you make your own AC units here in Phoenix, Arizona. Why you're giving Dometic RTX 2000 so much love? Because 9 times out of 10, it's the right unit for you. You'll learn a little bit later in the video about the batteries and how it all plays together, but normally this is the right unit for you, and it has the advantage of either shipping the same day or the next day. The other thing about it is Dometic, as far as I can tell right now, has been phenomenal customer service. Phenomenal. Any issues during shipping, any issues with the product getting damaged during installation, everything that I've seen from their customer service has been phenomenal and above board. So if you're building a van today, oh, and have I mentioned, Kenny, it's the least expensive out of all 3 of these, okay? And look how beautiful it is. This one we wrapped in camo so you guys could see how dope it looks. What is the easiest way to explain which DC powered air conditioner is right for you? I always like to go to the faucet. No, it's not a faucet. It's a shower head. Which shower head is right for your rig? Okay, we have 2 different options here, clearly, of which shower head you could pick for your overland rig. We've got this one right over here that was $14, and it's going to give you a shower, but it's not going to be the world's best shower. It's a little shower, but you have to remember in your overland rig, you only have probably 10 or 15 gallons of water. And then over here, we've got a fantastic shower head. Shower head, Kenny? It's a shower head. Okay. This shower head right here is fantastic. It'll give you the world's best shower. And if you weren't in your van, this would be a great choice for your home. But right inside your van, this would be a terrible choice because your shower would only last about 30 seconds. Which one of these shower heads is better? This one or this one? Well, it sort of depends on how much water you have, Kenny. Wouldn't you say? That's what I would say. So I like to use this as an explanation of which DC powered air conditioner is right for you. It sort of depends not on how much water you have, Kenny, but how much battery you have. So the best one in here sort of doesn't depend on how much cold air comes out of it. Sort of depends on how much cold air you can get out of it based on your battery capacity, Kenny. Let's throw that out to the side. Let's throw that off to the side and let's get into it. We have the Nomadic Cooling 2000. We have the Dometic RTX 2000, Kenny, and we have the Nomadic Cooling 3000 over here. Which one is right for you depends on your electrical system and your needs. If you have a small electrical system, this is the right air conditioner for you because it uses less electricity. Let's go over that. Less batteries, less consumption. This would be the right one for you. Let's say you have 200 to 300 amp hours of battery. This would be the safe bet for your overland rig. Kenny, come on over here and follow me. Let's say you have a little bit bigger battery system, 400 to 600 amp hours of battery. This would be the correct unit for you. Now, both of them produce different amounts of air depending on how much electricity it uses. It says in the book it goes up to 65 amps. I've really only seen 45 amps come out of this unit, which is phenomenal, phenomenal. If you don't have a big battery bank, this is the guy to use. The Nomadic Cooling 2000 uses 75 amps of consumption on a 100-degree day. In eco mode, split that in half. Okay, if you have a 400 amp hour battery bank, you're going to take 400 and divide it by 75. Okay, now Kenny, follow me over here to the Nomadic Cooling 3000. Now the Nomadic Cooling 3000 has the largest compressor of all three of these units. It uses 100 amp hours of battery per hour. Okay, so what does that mean? If you have a 400 amp hour battery system, you take 400, divide it by 100, gives you 4. It'll run for basically 4 hours on that system. Now it does give you cold air, but here's guys what you have to remember here, Kenny. This is what everybody forgets. Let's say on a Monday you used all of your cold air technology because it was hot, you used all of your battery consumption. You also then have to figure out exactly what you're going to do on Tuesday to rerun it. So that comes down to, follow me over here, Kenny. This goes down to a little story called DC to DC charging capacity off your alternator. Now that's a very important number, guys. Let's say that your DC to DC charging number, you're using one Orion from Victron that's giving you 30 amps an hour of charging. Let's say that this guy's using 45 amps. What does that mean, guys? That means that that extra 15 amps is going to be coming right off your battery bank. You're not getting enough DC to DC charging to run this thing indefinitely. You are not. There is what I like to call, in van world speak, a discrepancy. Okay, we don't like discrepancies. But what happens if we up the DC to DC charging to 2 Orions? Now we got 60. This thing's using 45. We can run this thing all day while we're driving and charge our battery bank. But what happens if we increase that number to 100 DC to DC charging with a Victron CL100? Well, now we got 100 coming in off the alternator while you're driving. This thing's using 45. What do we have then, Kenny? We have 55 amps also charging your battery at the same time. What does this tell us? This means it's also not just our battery capacity. It's not also just our cooling capacity. It's how fast we can recharge our batteries based on our DC to DC charging. Let's just say that you got all the money in the world and you make it rain, Kenny. Let's say they're making it rain out there in Van World, spending big buckarooskies, and they put in a second alternator. That second alternator is roughly going to charge at 250 amp hours per hour as you're driving down the road. That means, Kenny, come on over here. That means you can run this sucker with a smaller battery bank if you can recharge it. Okay, if you're charging from your DC to DC at 250 off your second alternator, this thing's only using 100 on 100-degree weather. Remember, it's half of that in eco mode. We're also using less than that on an 85-degree day. That means you're going to be charging your batteries at 150 amps per hour and using this thing at 100 amps an hour as you're driving down the road. Okay, but if you don't have the second alternator, if you don't have the second DC to DC charger to up those amps, and you're just charging off your regular alternator at 30, you got to come back down over to here regardless of how many batteries you have. If you have 900 amp hours of battery, but you're only charging at 30 amps DC to DC, now you're going to say to me, Johnny, I have solar on my roof. You're going to say, well, you forgot about solar, Johnny. Guys, I did forget about solar. I do apologize, but as far as the air conditioner is concerned, I'm going to keep it to DC charging off your alternator, and you can use your solar to charge your refrigerator and your lights. Let's go back to it, Kenny. First off, let's just go to worst case scenarios. Let's say it's 100 degrees in Phoenix, okay, at night, and that air conditioner is going to be running all night. If you want this air conditioner to run all night, it's going to be the amount of hours. Let's go 8 hours. Let's times it by 100, and that's going to give you 800, Kenny. Okay? Let's do the same thing over here, Kenny. Now, I'm not so good at math, Kenny, so let's just take 8 times 5, 50. Kenny, what's 8 times 50?
400.
400. 400, Kenny. Go for 400. Kenny, put it up here. I don't want to be doing math. Now, this math is tricky because it's 75, Kenny. So we're not even going to attempt to do that math with these big cameras staring at me on the face. Kenny, I'd like you to put right up here 8 hours times 75 hours of amp hours of consumption, and put that total right here so that the people know that how smart the van genius is at his maths. Now, you have to remember, Kenny, this is what everybody forgets. If you've got a well-insulated van, okay, you got your window curtains up, you got a small space, your actual runtime won't be 100%. Maybe it'll only be 50%. So you'll take whatever number we just did here with our newfangled math, and you're going to divide that in half. Or multiply by 2, actually, because over here, Kenny, I'm going to do this math again. 8 hours at 50, okay, is only, what did we say before? 400. It's only 400, okay? So for that scenario, you would only need 400 amp hours of battery. Now, it's not just how much battery you use, because remember, you got to fill up those battery tanks the next day. You got to figure out exactly how you're going to do that. Can you mount these vertically is the question. The answer to that, Kenny, is you cannot mount these things. Kenny, there's a dog in my set. How can I be a star if there's a dog in the set playing with toys? Quiet on the set! The Dometic currently in the United States does not allow or does not sell their 24-volt version of the Dometic RTX. But in the future they will. But currently they do not. The Nomadic Cooling 2000 and 3000, based on what's going on in the world, is available in 24 volts. Do I recommend a 12-volt system or a 24-volt system for your overland rig? Mathematically, I do prefer a 24-volt full electrical system. There's a lot of reasons why. The basic reason is you get less voltage drop the higher the voltage goes up. With that being said, is it worth the rub if you're new to van life or new to electrical system? It's probably not. Okay, it's in the margin. If you're really good at electrical, if you want to take on the task of a 24-volt system, it is in the end better in the minutia and also really not that complicated to undertake. But we don't want to confuse anybody if it's your first time. 24-volt available and also better in my opinion. I will tell you this, my last van was all 24 volt. But I stopped trying to convert people to 24 volt because most people just don't want to be converted, Kenny. This segment of which air conditioner is right for you and your overland rig is sponsored by Camper Van HQ in Boulder, Colorado. They're my buddies. I like them. I like their customer service. I like everything they're doing over there. If you need stuff for your overland rig, including air conditioners, why don't you check out Camper Van HQ in Boulder, Colorado. Kenny, put their logo up. Make it big, okay? These guys are fantastic. Their customer service rocks, and they got what you need. I think they got ladders, bumpers, all kinds of fridges. Good stuff over there. Go ahead and check them out, peoples. They're here for you. If you want to go further in comfort and you're near Boulder or near the World Wide Web, go ahead and visit Camper Van HQ. They're here for you. Okay, they don't all come wrapped like this. This is special. A little something we did for a little build that's coming out later this month for our YouTube channel. So take a look at that. If you like to see more of the Van Genius, don't forget to like and subscribe. I throw that in all the time. But honestly, all jokes aside, if you are building a van today for overlanding and you have a little bit smaller of a budget or a battery bank, just go ahead and use this one. As your budget and your battery bank increase and the amount of time you're going to be spending in your overland rig, increase your budget accordingly. We are not big fans of you spending money that you don't need to spend. It's expensive out there. Building vans is expensive. I know, I've done it. It sucks. Everything adds up. Least expensive, second least, third least. Well, that one's just quite expensive. I can't lie to you about that, okay? It just gets more pricey as you go up in cooling capacity. But remember, guys, this is not the important, the expensive part of this. The batteries, the electrical systems that's going to run this and run this safely is way more expensive than what these things cost. My name's Jonathan with Nomadic Cooling. I call myself the Van Genius. Most people just call me incompetent. If you want to go further in comfort, choose a Nomadic Cooling DC powered air conditioner or Dometic RTX 2000. And remember, wherever you go further in comfort, go further with Nomadic Cooling.